Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. This will be my third in my kind of mini series of diagnosing the knock in this 6.7 third gen that I bought and pulling the engine out. So where we kind of left off in my last video is I was getting ready to pull the clutch fan off and then probably move on to the intake and some of the emissions garbage that's on here. Pull the injector harness off and then start pulling injectors and rockers and push rods. So this is the tool I talked about in my last video. Basically you just hook this on to the clutch fan nut, 36 mil in this case. Then you can use an air hammer to rattle it off. If you don't have an air hammer, you can also just hit this end with a normal hammer. If you do that too often, it will kind of mar up the end of it and you'll need to take a grinder and kind of smooth it round again, or else it won't fit in the air hammer. Once you rattle the fan free, it'll just spin. You can see the nut spinning back there. And then you just got to undo this bracket right here. This is a part of the fan and it's just attached to a lower fan shaft. Now that the fan's off, you can see that the front of the engine is exposed. All these accessories are gonna come off just because I'm gonna take this engine apart. So I'm gonna take them all off now. Obviously, the only things you actually need to take off is relieve the tension from the belt, flip the belt off, and then along the side of the AC compressor there's 4 13 mil bolts. You pop those out and you can set the AC compressor right in this area right here. Like I said, you don't need to drain any refrigerant from the lines. So besides that, I also don't drain the power steering system. Behind this pulley, once the belt's off, you can just spin it by hand. There's 3 13 mil bolts. I set this whole system off to the side in the opposite area of the AC compressor. And then I just kind of bungee cord it so it's out of the way. So on this side, AC compressor unbolted, set in this area. Opposite side, power steering, reservoir and pump unbolted, set in this area. And that should give you plenty of clearance. And like I said, don't need to drain any refrigerant, don't need to drain any power steering fluid. I got a few of the accessories off now. Gonna move on to the AC compressor, the alternator. I'll pull the water pump off too, and the dampener. Hopefully my 3/8 gun can take it off. Those bolts can be pretty tight sometimes. Like I said, you don't necessarily have to do any of this to pull the engine out. I just kind of want to show you guys some stuff. I'll pull the cover off too so you can see the front of the engine, what it looks like in there with all the gear train. Alright guys, now that I'm down to the front cover, I figured I'd take a break from the time lapse and check out what's going on here now. So like I said, you just got your 2 water pump mounting bolts there, your 4 for the fan hub. Shout out to Milwaukee. These 3/8 guns are just the best. This is the same gun, just 1/2 inch drive, but they took out these dampener bolts, which can be just extremely tight. I've seen 1/2 inch guns struggle with them, so Milwaukee makes some good stuff. So it's all these 10 mils that go around here. I'm not sure how many there is, maybe like 15 or something, but that's all you gotta do, pop those off, and those cases are just siliconed on. All right, so if you've never seen inside of one of these engines before, that's your CP3 drive gear, that's your cam, that's your oil pump, and that's your crank. You can see these engines are pretty easy to time. Basically, CP3 doesn't matter, oil pump doesn't matter. You got your double 0 on the cam, then you got your 0 on the crank. That's all you have to do. When you pull the cam out of one of these things, you just make sure that 0 goes between those 2 zeros, and it's timed correctly. Like I said, none of this is actually necessary for pulling the engine out, but the more I can show you guys, I feel like it's better for people that are trying to learn and kind of understand. This engine over here is going to be the one that I'm putting in it. It does have a leaking timing case, so I'm going to do another video on pulling the timing case out. Pulling the timing case off. There is a couple ways to do it. This one I'll probably pull the cam out, dowel the tappets, just kind of like how I did the front cover, just for video purposes, just to kind of show you guys. A more common, more efficient way would be to pull the cam gear off. You can get a special puller for cam gears, and then you heat it up. I think the spec is 350 to 375 degrees, and then you press it back on. That's slightly off topic. That'll be coming up in a video though. I'm gonna take some accessories off, paint them. The case will get painted, and that way we just know that this thing doesn't have any oil leaks, because you can kind of see around the crank sensor, it's a bit cruddy. This engine runs really well, zero blow by, but I don't want any oil leaks to deal with either, especially while it's out. It's just easier to deal with it. All right guys, as you can see, the intake horn is off. The cross tube that goes to the intake is off. No real tricks to that. Sometimes this 8mm is a bit annoying to get to, so I just take the water neck off, thermostat housing, whatever you want to call it, and then you can access that pretty easily. And then it's just the 6 10mm that hold the intake horn. And I do get reminded as I'm working on this thing that this truck obviously hasn't been worked on much. This is almost never on the back of the intake horn. And if we look in there, there's the infamous grid heater. Kind of known more in the later trucks. I haven't really seen that many issues with the 3rd gen. Still plan on doing the fix while it's all apart, but what'll happen is the nut will short out, and then it'll drop down and basically fall into your engine. So next thing we're gonna do is pull the injector harness off, 8mm down all 6 injectors, plug here, plug here. Then we will remove the rocker box. I think it's 8 bolts. The short one goes in the front, and the other short one goes in the very back. All the other ones are the exact same length. And then once we do that, we will remove all the rockers, the bridges, and the push rod. Alright guys, so for any of you that haven't worked on one of these before and are wondering how to get the rear push rods out, underneath the cowl, my phone will show, there's some plugs. So you gotta pop those out, and then you can fish the push rod through there. They look like this. Just put a screwdriver in there, twist, pop those out, and that's how you get the rear push rods out. There's no other way, you know, you guys can't ram them on out. You lift them up through the hole, tilt them on the right angle, pull them out this way. I'll tell you one thing, this video very quickly reminded me that I forgot my electric ratchet at work, because I was doing that by hand, all those injectors and stuff. You'll never catch me doing stuff by hand, okay? Takes way too long. The reason that I didn't bring my ratchet home is I wasn't exactly planning on working on this truck this weekend. I actually went to a dyno day yesterday. I brought my buddy's single turbo 6.4 there. Pretty clean truck. This is my buddy's 2008 6.4. It's got a single turbo swap. It's got a S467 on it, a cam, some head work that he did himself. It's a basically stock bottom end with all ARP hardware, but it's a good working truck. It's been good to him. I put down a respectable number. We were definitely expecting more from it, because in the past it has dynoed a lot more. It kind of seemed like they couldn't fully light the charger yesterday, but we can watch a few dyno videos that I took from yesterday. Alright guys, so the last thing I'm going to do for this video is pull the EGR cooler off. Like I said, I'm trying to keep these videos around 10 minutes. This one might be a bit longer, but that's alright. So basically, on the front of the manifold you have 15, a 15, and on the back you have the same two 15s. You have to take those off. And you have this coolant pipe, pop that clamp off, and then that coolant pipe runs over to the head. Pop that clamp off there. That should be all the coolant lines off now. And then what I do is I take these 10 mils off that attach the cooler to the mount, which is this piece right here. That's held on by two 13s between the manifold and the mount, but I just take it off separately. It's just how I do it. There's several different ways of taking coolers off, you know. This nut here is very hard to access when the valve cover and everything is on, so you can get a crow's foot in there depending on how tight it is with the wobble on it, or you can separate the cooler from this clamp, take the back half out, leave this piece in, so then you can get a wrench on it. There is a couple ways to take it off. I'm just kind of doing it how I see is the best way to do it right now. All right guys, there you go, EGR cooler gone. It's just these two 13s there that hold the mounting bracket on. That'll be the next thing to go. If you are putting delete plates on, you want to retain those 4 bolts, or sorry, nuts. The kits, I've never seen a kit come with them, but as well as keep the gaskets when we put the plates on. In the next video, our steps are going to be pulling the injectors out, the fuel rail, the lines, the connector tubes, all that off. I'm thinking, like I said, for video purposes, I'm gonna pull the head off separately. So what we'll do is we'll undo all the manifold bolts, leave the manifold hanging there, or we might undo the turbo side and take it all out as an assembly. We'll kind of see how it goes. Some of the lines over there are a little bit crusty, but hey guys, thanks for watching part 3 of my video. There'll be more to come, not just this, you know. Like I said, we'll get into timing case, gasket replacement on the new engine, simple things like water pump, thermostat. We'll be replacing all that because may as well while it's out. But thanks guys, remember to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.